the time to introduce myself. My name is Alex Fox. I'm the Executive Director of the Swedish Historical Society. We're so excited to have you all here for our first digital Fika with the Swede. I'm very excited to have joining me Linnea Bengtsson, our Swedish ambassador with the Swedish Historical Society, as well as our guests today, Jennifer Ottosson and Emma Korinen from the city of Lidköping. But I'll let them introduce themselves in just a moment. But as we are having the discussion today, Linnea will be leading the questions. So if you do have a question, again, we're going to ask everybody to stay muted, but there is a chat option. So feel free to ask anything you'd like in the chat option. If for some reason that's not working, you're welcome to email the museum, and I will put that information in the chat box while our speakers are doing their introductions, because I know we want to keep it brief. Fikas are brief, and I'm sure Linnea will explain a little bit more about that. But we also do want anyone to have, if you have questions, we want to make sure we're addressing those as well. So I think everybody is in now. Does everybody can see okay and hear all right so far? Okay, good. Well, I'm going to pass this off to Emma Korinen, and she can introduce ourselves, and we'll get this started.
Thank you, Alex. Hi, everyone. My name is Emma Korinen, and I work as an international business developer for the city of Lidköping and the county of Skaraborg. I took over this position after Linnea Bengtsson last year. And I've been to Rockford a few times. I actually got the opportunity to study at Rockford University through my home university, the University of Skövde. And I'm looking forward to going back to Rockford as soon as possible. And I'm also looking forward to getting to know this Swedish Historical Society much more and get to work closely with you. I see the Swedish Historical Society as an important partner in this partnership, and I really look forward to working closely with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emma. And for those of you who may not be familiar with the Swedish Historical Society, we have been in Rockford for over 81 years now, and we are so excited to be celebrating our 150th. A year late, but you know, really, this is when the new decade starts, right? 2021, we're just going to completely forget about 2020, and we're celebrating this year our 150th of the Erlander Home Museum and its construction in this building, and so we're really excited to be kicking this off. But as Emma said, Swedish Historical Society not only serves the Rockford community, but we love to make connections with the Swedish heritage in Sweden to Rockford, and this is one of our events along with many others. So we hope to see you at this Fika as well as many others that we'll be hosting monthly, hopefully throughout the year, and all other events. So again, I'm going to try to get the information up in the chat box, but I'd love to introduce Linnea Bengtsson, our Swedish ambassador, and she will take it over from here.
Well, thank you, and hello everyone. How nice to see so many on this first digital Fika. It's nice to see friends from Chicago and Lidköping, Tidaholm, Varberg, Rockford, of course, and perhaps other places too. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. I am extremely happy and excited that we have our speaker, the Swede of the day, Jennifer Ottosson, who will talk more about herself in a bit here. A little bit about background, if there's anyone who doesn't know what Fika is. It's a very common way in Sweden to take a break from work. Or you can use, yes, Paul, exactly. You have some coffee or tea or whatever you want and take a break from work and just relax a little bit. And you can also use it as just a time to get inspired. So hopefully that's what we do today. I met Jennifer, or I should say that I used to live in Rockford for 11 years and moved back last year. And now I'm living in Skövde and working in Tidaholm. And when I started to work in Tidaholm a few months ago, I kept hearing about, when Jennifer was here, everything was just perfectly organized in the business community. And I met Jennifer just 2 times before. And she's now in Lidköping, my hometown. So when we started to talk about this Fika series, I thought Jennifer would be the perfect person to kick us off with. So with that, I will have a few questions for Jennifer, and the first one is, who is Jennifer? Who are you? And then the second one, talk a little bit about your work and perhaps your previous work too. And then also a little bit about your connection to Rockford, where I will add a little bit. And then also I've asked Jennifer to say one sentence by her choice in Swedish, so we take advantage of practicing our Swedish today as well. So Jennifer, over to you, and please introduce yourself and tell us who you are.
Okay, thank you, Linnea. So it's a lot of fun just to be here and meet some of you that I have never met before. So I'm 44 years and I have been in the industry now for almost 22 years. So I started with my education at the University West in Trollhättan. It's like 50 kilometers from here. And after that, I decided to go into the industry. So I started to work at Saab, the car automotive company in Trollhättan. So I was there for like 5 years, and that's actually my longest period of time as an employed. So I have been moving around within certain different companies within the industry in Skaraborg the last 22 years. So I met Linnea when I was working at LEAX in Tidaholm and Falköping. And I was very engaged to the community work that they were doing together with the school. And it was mostly the students that were between 16 and 18 years old. So I think that it's very important as a employer that you should have the possibility to work together with the school in a good way, because that's our future employees that are coming from the schools. So after my time at Saab, I decided to try to get work in my hometown, Lidköping. So then I went to the plastic industry for 3 years, and I was a process leader at that time. So I was planning all the 5S program, lean manufacturing and so on, because I have studied that as well on my spare time. So I was there for 3 years, and after that I decided to go to another company in Lidköping as well. It was SNA Europe. So in that position, I really learned that it's very, very important to work with the groups and try to get people involved to make things happen. So it was very, for me, it was very obvious that my leadership was very important to get the possibility to improve the processes with the people, together with them. So I was there for like 3 years. So what I learned most from that period, it was that teamwork is very, very good, but it's also very nice to have a good communication. So you can share your goals for the company in a good way, but also make sure that everybody has understood what you actually has been telling them. Just to ask questions back and get people to actually tell back that, okay, that this is the goal and this is the way that we are going to reach the goal. And after that, I was working in Tranter in Vänersborg. So it was a big change there, because I was a production manager there for 4 years, and I was working in this US company. It was owned by, they have their headquarters in Wichita Falls. So, and then they needed to have some help from me to actually get the 5S program in a better way. So I was there in 3 different times to help them to get the possibility to ensure the good lean production in their plant. So it was a very nice opportunity for me to be able to travel to US, but also to make contacts. And I still have those contacts, even if I'm not in that company anymore. After that, I went to LEAX, where I met Linnea, because it was LEAX is a family-owned company, so they were talking about that they might be the possibility to move over and have some business in Rockford, for example. So Linnea was the connection between LEAX and the US. So I don't know if you can share some more information there, Linnea.
Yes, and that's the position that Emma has now. But really the importance of the partnership that we do have in place between Lidköping and the County of Skaraborg and the Rockford area, and we went to Belvedere as well, is that perhaps both our areas wouldn't be known to these large companies because LEAX were heading for a different state in the States, which is quite common for large Swedish companies to go to. But since we have this local person and Jennifer knew of me, she called the head office here, I met with them, and then a skiing accident and things like that led to that they actually were able to come to Rockford. And considering Rockford area for a plant with 100 employees, so it's a pretty big deal, and that's obviously what we hope to see the other way too. But that truly is the essence of the partnership we have in place, and also the importance to maintain this relationship. Yeah.
So after like 4 years at LEAX, I was contacted by TI because they heard some good things about my leadership and the possibility for me to do a lot of improvements in factories and so on. So then I got this role that I have today, and it is a general manager role. So I'm reporting to the Europe, the Heidelberg office, and at the same time I'm responsible for all these plants. So right now we are 145 employees here, and we have also within the TI, it is very, very hard to get women on this position. So I am the only one right now within TI who has this. So it has started to have diversity program within TI. So it started last year, and I am one of the persons that they have been interviewing, try to understand if it is a big difference to being a woman in this position or not. So, and I think I haven't felt that it is hard to be a woman on this position because I only have this kind of position the last 22 years. So for me, it is very nice that they are actually taking this into their account, that they want to have a bigger diversity in between the countries and also in the factories locally. So I saw one question here about where I am. So it is like 1.5 hours from Gothenburg. Lidköping is located nearby the lake Vänern. So we have 2 big lakes in Sweden. So it is Vänern and Vättern. So maybe the Swedish Historical Society can share some like print screen afterwards just to show where we are. And
maybe we do a test afterwards with quizzes. Yes.
Yeah, that should be good. But just to mention my private life is that I have been together with my, now he's my husband since 15 years, but we have been a couple since 25 years. And we have been moving around a bit because I am very keen on having a lot of projects on my spare time. So I like to move around. So we started in an apartment, and then we were building the house. And then when we were not so satisfied with that, I needed to have a summer house. So we built that. I was building the summer house 8 years ago. So it's very close to the lake Vänern. So we can see the lake from our window, and it's very, very nice. And we also have a daughter, and she's turning 16 next year. So I cannot just understand that she's old already, because she was like 1 year, like 2 months ago. So so I have been living here in Lidköping, but I have been traveling a lot in the area for work. So, but now I think I have found a very, very good company to work with. I'm very keen on continue this work here. So,
and the headquarters in the US of TI Automotive is in Michigan, correct?
Yeah, in Auburn Hills. So it is. We also have 2 different production units. So one of the units is in Michigan, and the other one is in Indiana. So there are 3 different locations there where we have factories and so on.
So when you go next time to the States, to Michigan, you can stop for Fika in Rockford with this group. It's right on the way, and you can stop in Chicago too. Maybe
that could be possible.
Yeah. So well, that's really great. And not to get too technical, but you do components for the auto industry.
Yeah, we are actually, our biggest customer is Volvo Cars. So we are producing 90% of our sales is going to Volvo Cars. And so it's both brake lines and fuel lines that we are producing here in Lidköping. So, and we are very close to Gothenburg, so it's just 1.5 hours. But then we're producing parts to US Volvo and also China Volvo and also in Belgium. So we are doing the parts to all over Volvo plants.
That's great, and I like that you touched on the fact that you are one of the few women in that position, which is quite well. It's good that you're there, and hopefully you can help with that moving forward as well. And going back just for a bit to Tidaholm, where we kind of met, Falköping Tidaholm. Rockford has a specific connection between Tidaholm and Rockford. Rockfordians probably know, but late Connor Johnson, who emigrated in 1923, 19 years old from Skymbo, Tidaholm, ended up being in Rockford, Illinois. And then when he passed away, well, before he passed away, he was the oldest living American for several years. He was close to 111, I believe. And then when he passed away, he donated a significant amount of money to Swedish Historical Society. So it feels nice in the heart that we can continue this connection to the homeland, because that truly was his wish. So we're happy to be able to do that. Maybe it's time for, and I want to say thank you, Paul, for showing on the map where the lake is. I think Rockfordians know it's the 3rd largest lake in Europe. That's kind of part of my pitch when I've been there. Do you want to, Jennifer, do your Swedish sentence, both in English and Swedish, and perhaps why you chose it too?
Yeah. So I will say it in Swedish first. Allting är möjligt och var positiv. So everything is possible, and be positive. Because I think it is, it's very easy for me to say to everybody else that you will need to try a new way of doing things. Because if you don't try, then you don't know if it's possible or not. And at the same time, if it's much easier if you go into the work or whatever you are doing and being positive instead of handling things in the negative way. So I think that one of my key points here is that it's easier to avoid issues and problems if you go in with a positive attitude.
I agree, and that's very well an appropriate quote for you, Jennifer, because you truly is a proof of that and a good role model for many. And we touched on your connection to Rockford, which is LEAX. So even though you haven't been to Rockford yet, that's how we met. So thank you for that. And then Emma is the person taking this forward. I want to say too that our next Fika will be February 18th with Joakim Frykberg, who is the CEO of Jula, which is a very big company here in our area as well. And then we will learn about his connection to Rockford and his history and choice of Swedish sentence as well. Jennifer, thank you so very much for taking the time to be with us. I will hand it over to you, Alex.